welcome to Sidebar. We're back again for another episode, and this time I've got a new cast member with us tonight, all the way from tiny little island of New Zealand. Nurbinator, Nubs, how are you going?
I'm going good. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
It's always good to get people on. And I'm interested to hear your view on what's been going on around THL. Also with me tonight, our regular host on the Green Grabatoa. We've got Reverb. Welcome.
It's me. You know what's happening. I'm being played on 6 mana. Right claw, attack. Claw from weapon, attack. Left claw, well, bam. Best tempo play in the game is me.
Yeah, and not the best discover when we had Thief Rogue, but luckily we don't have the Thief package anymore. But Miracle Rogue's still doing its bit. I got a win with it this week. Couldn't win my match, but got the Miracle Rogue doing some stuff. All right, we're gonna kick things off with Wild as we usually do. So we'll change screens here over to Wild and Outback. And I'll get you, Nubs. I'll get you to start off. Can you tell us who is our player of the week for week 3?
Yeah. Um, week three. Yeah. Well, with the upheaval of the new set, right? It's been a new oppressive phase to Druid. And it's a breath of fresh air to see older decks still succeed. Lothos was one of the two shakers this season to bring Cthulhu Druid and P Wordlock as well, Pain Wordlock, and backs it up with a competent control suite. He had a hard-fought game, Series 5, with Pigpen to finally force his naval mines through, stay undefeated, and keep Shaker Symphony as the top team. He's hoping we see another Shaker win this week. Lothos will surely try to check the meta and make Shaman Cord proud. So yeah, congrats.
Yeah, a great win there for Lothos. I think Pigpen was our player of the week for week 1. Yeah, so great win for Lothos, great win for Shakers as they continue to have a great season. All right, moving on to our match of the week. Reverb, do you want to take us through our match of the round? There's 3 matches played, and we've selected this one: World Checkers versus Alphas playing Minecraft.
It was a pretty close 4-1 over here with Alphas playing Minecraft versus World Shakers. 14-10 is the score. Those last few sweeps at the top there from World Shakers seem to be taking them across the line. The bottom 3 matches, World Shakers not World Shakers, sorry. Alpha's playing Minecraft, got the better of a couple, got some nice games in the loss to Copa, but then, thankfully for World Shakers, Azalea Akari subbing in, bam, 3-0 straight over the Unburnt. Lowbrow, bam, got swept by nice Jewish Owl. Uh, you know, just too strong, and not exactly with the powerhouse we were just alluding to in the Player of the Week Quest 100. Nice Zhao bought Cthulhu Druid. Slight blast from the past. Anyone that never played Wild, there was a Druid deck with new Cthulhu where you basically just played 29 spells and then Cthulhu, and then you just ramped, played cards, one game. It sounds better than I'm explaining it, but it's pretty good. Mech Mage as well, not everything fully conventional. Another cool thing to note is we have the class rainbow in amongst this game. There is, I believe, one deck from every class between the two teams, which I mean, hey, if you're bored of standard, apparently we have the most diverse format possible over here in Wild. So well done to World Shakers with a nice hard fought win, cementing themselves just just under APM or Alpha playing Minecraft at the moment. And maybe they'll overtake them in the next couple of weeks. We'll see.
Nubs, did you have anything you wanted to say about this match?
Um, Kind of. I'm just looking at the points per week in the Green Conference as well. And Neopunk Music doing really strong on 19 points per week. And a little surprised to see F12 Radiant only bringing in about 12 points. Still solid, still good, but not the F12 that I'm used to. Um, but yeah, Alpha's playing Minecraft, also bringing in a strong 13 points per week. And yeah, Shaker Symphony with 17, some good numbers there as well, and good team records. And yeah, looks pretty solid.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, with the table, I think we mentioned last week. We've got buys this season in Wilds, so that when you look at the table, best to use the points per week comparison to see where teams are at. There's three teams there that have all had a buy. So Anoya Punk Music and World Shakers have only played two matches, and they're sitting mid-table. But they're looking at their average points per week, they're up towards the top of the table. Morgan Grease is the other team with the bye, which they're at 9.5 points per week, so they're still down the bottom. There's still time for all teams to get there. Four teams make playoffs this season out of seven, so you only need to have like a 3-3 season, and you can sort of sneak into that last spot in the playoffs. So even if you are 0-3 like the Wild THL Fanatics at the moment, you can still come back, get some wins in the second half of the season, and find yourself in playoffs. And from there, it's you only have to win twice. Um, just got to get there, and you never know what happens once you're in playoffs. Reverb, did you want to say anything about the standings? We lost Reverb.
Aha, you did, and now you have not. I was talking to myself for a solid 30 seconds. No, the standings are kind of carrying out somewhat as expected. Shaker Sympathy certainly taking themselves in the top at the moment. The third most points per week, but also sitting on 52. Quite a big number. You would like to think they are going to be making playoffs, but if they have not fantastic weeks from here out, you never know. Tables could be flipped. Morgan Greases, even though they're at the bottom, as you can see in AOS, which is average of strength, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Hard past few weeks for them. So they get a bit of an easier run, pick up their games, get a bunch of points. Wham, they could shoot themselves up there. There's only four playoff spots, so there's it's kind of it's on a knife's edge, like in this middle at the moment we just have like six, no, not six, five teams all in the 30-point bracket that could easily like completely flip around. Alpha's playing Minecraft could just drop out by the end because they're only 6 points above the second lowest team. So it's interesting to see it so close but also not. Like there's not much longer to make your kind of run to the top if you want. So it's really close, but at the same time, the teams have got to start winning now, or it's done for playoffs.
Yeah, indeed. All right, we're going to move on to the match of the week. So last week we selected a match as our match of the week. So that match was Dr. BOMD versus Reno Jackson. And I'll get you to talk us through this one. What happened in that match?
Well, Dr. Bomb got a sweep against Reno Jackson, and yeah, well deserved by them. The Paladin took it out over their mage, the Shaman beat the Demon Hunter, and the Hunter beat their Demon Hunter as well, which is quite surprising, at least for me. I don't find Hunter being that strong, but just goes to show how skilled Dr. Bomb is. But yeah, Demon Hunter definitely being one of the stronger decks currently as well. But yeah, really, really well played from Dr. Bond. Yeah.
Yeah, the paladin, there was a mech paladin over mech mage, even shaman, and I think it was a beast hunter. So Not sure if they were close games or how they turned out, but those matchups seemed pretty even. So very well indeed did very well indeed to get the sweep over Reno Jackson, who was undefeated before this round. Reverb, did you have anything to comment on the match?
Nothing too much in particular. Interesting to see the quest line Demon Hunter from Reno Jackson. Obviously he knows what he's doing being 3-0. I haven't seen much of that personally, but I also don't play a metric ton of Wild, but I'm pretty sure it is fairly up there, but don't quote me on that. Quote me on Cthulhu Druid. Cthulhu Druid good. That's my only take in Wild at the moment. I like Cthulhu Druid.
All right, Reverb, while we're here, do you want to talk us through next week's matchup?
I most certainly do. And it is gonna be a big one. It is our player of the week Lothos versus Shaman Obsessed Powerhouse, Copa. This, in boxing terms, is a match for the ages. This is just a fantastic matchup. We have someone we have just gassed up who is fantastic at the game versus someone who plays one class way too much but is also conveniently really good at every other class and the game in general. I'm excited. My one tip to Lothos, ban Shaman. Copa will bring even Shaman probably. That deck is crazy at the moment. Uh, I'm hoping this can get on stream. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, Lothos went through last season undefeated, in the regular season at least, and he's on track to do it again. 3-0, going to into his fourth match of six. So yeah, Copa's going to have a match on his hands, but being undefeated himself, I'm sure he's hoping to extend his undefeated streak as well. All right, Nubs, did you have anything that you wanted to say on this one?
Not really, to be honest. I do agree with Reverb here on Sun Druid as a notable wild enjoyer myself. I'm really happy to see, Sun coming back. Very big Cthulhu enjoyer. Yeah.
All right. We're going to move across to standard now, and we're going to be starting with Pro Series. All right. So Pro Series, open deck list, conquest, meta. You can bring a bit more of a target lineup if you want to. Let's see what the meta brought this past week in round three. Nubs, do you want to talk us through the archetypes that were brought in Pro for week three of THL?
Sure. We've seen, unsurprisingly, a lot of Unholy Death Knight as well, with a strong amount of bans as well. Spell Demon Hunter as well, not a surprise there. Miracle Rogue, still with a lot of brings, and yeah. Yeah, quite surprised to see a lot of Control Priest as well, but knowing it is quite a strong bring, especially into the amount of Demon Hunters that we're seeing recently as well. Tony Druid, not as many. I was hoping to see more, but yeah, no, quite predictable sort of brings this week as well, and yeah, notably very high number of bans for Demon Hunter and Death Knight.
Yeah, we're sort of seeing a lot of same, but there is quite a bit of a spread of the lesser archetypes. It's apart from those three or four classes. There's still a few brings among those other classes. Some of them doing reasonably well. Like I've got Mage featured here. A Spooky Mage, 6 brings, 2 bans, 4 wins, and 2 and 2 for the Burn Mage. So Mage did quite well in Pro this week with the limited number of brings that it had. Reverb, did you want to touch on anything with the archetype brings for Pro?
Yeah, it's a bit interesting. We are hitting the tail end of our current meta cycle, and it is staling out a bit. If you don't know, there's been a confirmed patch for this week-ish. I don't know. The tweet from Alico wasn't very clear on the exact window, but I would have also been curious if the meta was to last longer, how this table would look in the following weeks. For anyone else that also does not know, Enraged Warrior and Menagerie Warrior have been slowly coming up as quite popular, like high tier 2, low tier 1-ish kind of decks. There is definitely some power to those two. And if we had a bit longer, I would like to see if those start hitting the numbers of something like Undead Priest, um, and Spooky and Burn Mage as well. Those two, I think people are finally cutting some of the like absolute garbage that some people were running, just like really bad cards, and are trusting in Frozen Touch being spammable like almost mini pyroblasts in mass. So some small stonks for a couple of lower classes, but I fingers crossed we can see them, really shoot up and make it even more diverse than it already is.
Yeah, well, we might get another week in the matter. I think it was we're probably expecting a sort of an end of week patch, which is what they've been doing the last few patches. So your Thursday patch, but potentially could be pushed out another week. I know that they've pushed back the heroic brawl a week, so maybe the patch is coming a little bit late. We'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, we'll get a bit more information about it in the next couple of days. For those that are trying to get in early with their matches, I've already seen a few matches being played. Yeah, a good opportunity to try and get your match done before any patch hits. Potentially, we get this round pushed out to 2 weeks, but it just really depends when that patch hits. Um, yeah. Next along in Pro, we are going to look at our feature lineup that was brought in the last round, and that lineup comes from YoDaddy, who is just happens to not be here tonight. Um, I will get Reverb. Do you want to talk us through this lineup and what you think about that warrior in particular?
I was gonna say I want to talk about one deck in particular. Fairly solid kind of direction here. You can see you've got the two control decks in the Priest and the Blood Death Knight. Big Druid, kind of an interesting choice, but I get where it comes from. I think I'm personally not a fan of Zoc Druid variants, and their kind of polarizing gameplay. Big Druid isn't particularly less polarizing, but I think it does have a bit more edge versus some of the current things. I think you can get away with running Big Druid into control decks and it feeling a bit better. You're not as susceptible to some things like the Dirty Rat that you can see in the Control Priest. But the highlight, Menagerie Warrior. This deck is lovely. And I can't say on too many matchups. I went on like a 20 game win streak with Menage Warrior. It just like I found it was just destroying other Blood Death Knights. So I don't know if your daddy played against a Blood Death Knight, but if he did, he's done the right thing because that deck just absolutely chews through it. You were able to drop Amalgam Band after Amalgam Band, and they just cannot deal with it. So the lineup fairly solid one, playing control, but at the same time being able to beat other people that are bringing control. And I think that's a fair idea. I think most people have kind of turned away from playing four kind of aggro decks. Other than Unholy, there aren't really three that stick out to most people because Unholy beats all the aggro decks itself. So I like the direction, and I can see why your daddy got his win.
He did play against a Blood Death Knight, and the warrior lost to the Blood Death Knight.
I'm spreading misinformation.
Yeah, his Druid was first up, which beat Miracle Rogue. Menagerie Warrior then lost to the Miracle Rogue, then lost to the Blood Death Knight, and then his Blood Death Knight and his Warrior got wins over Spell Demon Hunter. So it was Spell Demon Hunter that did not make it through for his opponent. Nubs, Tell me why the highlight of this lineup is not Menagerie Warrior, but it is in fact Priest.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I also think it's a menagerie one. I have fallen off my priest bandwagon, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, after playing both decks myself on ladder, I have actually been shocked at the consistency of Menagerie Warrior as opposed to Control Priest. And maybe it's a skill issue. You know, maybe it is. However, I find that I can get a sneaky win here and there just with the most insane combos with Menagerie Warrior, and it's a lot better than playing a priest a lot of the time because my priest games go for maybe 30 to 40 minutes at times, but I find Menagerie Warrior gets his job done, and yeah, I'm also a Menagerie Warrior supporter. Yep.
Fair enough. Maybe with the patch that's coming up, Menagerie Warrior might be a mainstay in the THL meta. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, from here we are going to talk about our feature matchup from the previous round. So, Reverb, can you tell us what happened with Rebobson versus World 8?
Well, they were set to play in the second Battle of Ages because I believe I said Lothos Copper was the Battle of Ages. So this was the second one. And Rebob unfortunately was not able to make an appearance. He got a sub. Now, sometimes you get subs that are good. And sometimes you say, "Hey, GM called Rami. By any chance do you think you could play for me this week?" And Rami said, "Sure." So cross off Robson's name, put in Rami's name, and then Rami decided, you know what? I'm playing a week at THL for no reason. I just here to have some fun. I'll get a 3-0 over poor World 8, who just suddenly is now playing against the GM. Double unholy Death Knight bans from both players, and Rami just cleaned it with Spell Demon Hunter, extra large control priest, and miracle rogue. Knocked out World 8 and his fantastic Enrage Warrior brew. So maybe I should stop saying Warrior's the best deck because it does not seem to be winning as much as I hope it will.
To be fair, Rami was on the championship F2L EU side. I think they won the championship last year. Yeah, last season. So he has been playing for F2L. So it's yeah. It was a shame we didn't get to see our feature match, but we did get a result from this match nonetheless. Let's have a look at see who our feature match is next week. I believe these are the only two players left at 3-0 after 3 rounds. Nubs, you want to tell us about this match?
I sure do. So this feature matchup was between no other than Lotus Knight and Wild Nine. And yeah, I assume it was a really rough match.
It's
I'm
the
not
match
entirely
for
sure of that
it's the match for next week.
match from next
Who
week.
do,
I
who do
see.
you
Okay.
who do you think might win this one? Do you have any
I'm a
inklings?
no like shade to Wild Nine, but I'm a very big Lotus Knight fan. From sort of back in 2021, just sort of seeing their name pop up a bunch as well, and just yeah, I'm a big Lotus Knight fan, so I'm a little bit biased here, but yeah, that is my support.
Reverb, do you have any insight into this battle of the THL content people?
I was gonna say this is a battle of the show hosts. One of them runs Salty Sundays, the other of them runs Half Center. Which show is the best? That is clearly what we are betting on. This match decides everything. Whoever wins this has the second best THL show in THL because the first one's obviously this one. I'm just humble enough to say that. So, that these two have a lot on stake, not just their match and their teams winning this week. They also have their show and the rest of THL. Whoever loses will be kicked out forever unless we need them to run the show again. So they'll be kicked out for one day maybe, and then we'll bring them back for the show. So, I reckon these two are gonna have a blast playing each other. I'm sure they know each other, being both show hosts. So I hope they have a fun match, and I hope it's a close one as well.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to this one, and I wonder if there would be a little side wager. If Wild Nine wins, he gets to host Earth Center for a week. If Lotus wins, he gets to do Salty Saturdays. Is it Wild Nine's show? Salty Saturdays.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so be interesting. Yeah, a little side wager. I'd love to see Wild Nine on Earth Center.
If Lotus wins, Wild Nine has to read out every Hearth Center ad in succession, one after the other.
Yeah, now that is content. That is definitely content. All right, Pro is done. Time to look at the closed list series. We're going to do things in out of order from our usual order. So we're going to jump to Legacy series next this week. Legacy series. We're going to look at the class brings for Legacy. Nubs, I'll get you to talk us through our Legacy class brings for round 3.
Okay. Wow. So straight off the bat, seeing this makes me very glad that I'm not playing Legacy anymore. But yeah, there seems to be quite a lot of brings for Hunter, but unfortunately not as many wins this time. Strong amount of brings for Priest. Quite happy to see that. And Rogue and Death Knight and Demon Hunter, of course. Always going to have that. Yeah, quite happy to see. Oh, come on. Someone brought Shaman. Sorry, that is awesome. And Shaman 2 for 2. It's really, really great to see. Unfortunately, no wins on the Warlock or Warrior, but, quite brave of them to bring those classes. Yeah, no. Oh, 8 brings for Druid as well and 7 wins. So yeah, pretty solid overall. A little sad that there wasn't more Shaman. I'm a Shaman enjoyer, but yeah, no. Seems pretty solid.
Reverb, have you got any insights into why there are so many brings for certain classes here?
It's a it's a weird one because Legacy being closed list, normally the classes that are either completely busted or they have multiple strong archetypes kind of rise to the top. Death Knight, Demon Hunter obviously both have like 3. Well, Death Knight has 3. Demon Hunter has 3/4 if you're still playing Relic. Uh, you know, just really solid. Priest, the other reason this one's probably so high, you've got Undead, you've got a couple variations of Undead, and you've got a couple variations of Control Priest. You can really adjust your list once you see the classes your opponent's bringing. But Hunter has one deck, and Hunter has 15 brings. And Hunter lost a lot, which makes sense in theory if you go with the theory that if you have multiple decks in the class, then it does better. But I would think Druid would have like 7 different decks. You can play Zoc like 5 different ways. And it's one of the least broad classes compared to Rogue, which to my knowledge only has Miracle, and Paladin, which unless you're playing standard mech Paladin trying to snipe a certain deck, really only has Pure. So, the very top end of the class brings makes sense. The middle's a bit confusing to me, and Shaman was brought twice and won twice. Congratulations to you, Thrall. The totems have done it again. I brought nice to a shout said I brought Dance Paladin to Legacy this week. So I I guess there was something other than pure in the pool of paladins this week, which is why it's 15-15. But yeah, so yeah, the merch bring are making sense to me, but the middle ones I'm a bit confused on.
Well, there's a few different ones. I know in Hunter, Dankus Dad bought a Renathal Big Beast Hunter. He got a win with that in Pro this week. Most people are on the Face Hunter though, which is probably the better stats archetype. You say Druid has a lot of different archetypes, but they all have the same matchup spread. Very similar matchup spreads. So that's probably what makes it targetable, if anything, and doesn't necessarily do as well into certain Demon Hunter or certain Death Knight brings. So if your opponent brings Druid, then you just go to the ones with the good matchup spread against Druid. So definitely would be nice to see a bit more variety. As we can see with the bans, it's like you ban either Death Knight or Demon Hunter, and then you only have to face the other one. When you see the bans, gathered so closely, there's definitely a bit of a standout as to which of the decks that are the strongest or which of the classes that are the strongest. Hopefully, with the next patch, we can shake things up a little bit so that it's not just a Death Knight Demon Hunter Priest +1 kind of meta. Next up, we're going to switch across and look at our match of the week last week. So, Reverb, I'll get you to talk us through that one, which was a 5-seed match. Jim Folos against Proby 1.
It was a battle of the 5 seeds, as you say. A close one as well. A 3-2. You love to see it. And the best part, I know people like their reverse sweeps, but this wasn't a reverse sweep. I feel like I appreciate a good reverse sweep, being a reverse sweep enthusiast myself, but I'm also a sucker for tightly fought 1-0, 1-all, and the next thing you know is 2-all, and then it's winner takes all in the 5th game. So we had one of those on our hands. We got Jim Philos's Paladin beating Priest in game 1, and then I'm gonna muck this up. Pro Bluan. I probably should just say PROB Luan or something, but anyway, their Death Knight wins in the mirror, and then their Priest beats the Death Knight. Now, Death Knight's just lost twice in a row, and what does Jim Philos do? The Mad Lad queues it up for a 3rd time and beats Paladin. And then what's left? Jim Philos's Priest versus the Paladin. Bam, gets it in game 5. Nice and close. You love to see it. Nothing better than a close THL match to be featuring.
Yeah, I think it's Proby 1, like Obi-Wan, like Star Wars reference.
See, I've watched all the movies and still didn't get that, so shame on me.
Yeah, nice win here for Jim Folos, keeping his unbeaten streak alive. And yeah, Proby 1 having a pretty good season nonetheless. Just missed out in this one, but still got the 2 points for his team. So best of luck to both these guys for the remainder of the season. Nubs, did you want to talk us through our match of the week for next week?
Yeah. Now we've got
Good
a
luck
good one
pronouncing
coming
this
up.
one.
Oh yes, I'm gonna defeat it. But we've got the real allure, I guess, from Defias going against Joltzy from Symphony of Clowns next week. Real Allure's going quite strong, going 3-0 this conference. And Joltzy on 1-1. Pretty solid PRs as well, but it's gonna be one to look out for. It is a 4th seed battle, but yeah, no, it looks like it's going to be one to remember. I have probably butchered their names, so I'm very sorry, but yeah, no, I definitely think it'll be one to look out for.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how to pronounce. I think it's the real allure or something. Yeah, there's a way
Close
of
enough.
saying it.
Yeah.
I'm only guessing, so I think you did a pretty good job there. Reverb, did you have anything you wanted to say about this matchup?
I'm not encouraging betting, but put your money on Jolt C to upset the real Lua and make it so that they are no longer undefeated. I'm expecting an upset from this one, and I'm expecting a 3-2. I love 3-2s in Legacy. Catch me covering this match next week as a 3-2 to Jolt C. And if that doesn't happen, don't show up. do show up. Actually, I shouldn't say don't show up. Show up and then pretend what happened was what I said happened, even though I'll be saying something else.
I'm a little biased. I've had Dropsy on my team the last couple of seasons, Hero last season and Legacy the season before. So hope he has a good match, and best of luck to both these guys for their match this week. All right, we're going to jump across to Hero Series now, our last series that we'll be covering tonight, as we don't cover trios. Hero, let's have a look at the class brings for Hero in round 3, and this time I'll get Reverb to run through those. Reverb.
The classes for Hero are largely what you may or may not expect from seeing the previous weeks and also the previous series. If you have Death Knight or Demon Hunter in your name, you are being brought. The two classes are just unbelievably strong, and it it's gonna be hopefully not as strong coming up, but like if you look at those numbers, Death Knight was brought 46 times, banned 10, which means there are only 36 people that can play it left, and 27 wins, which means either 9 times it didn't win, or it it's just really really strong. And being closeless as well, you can bring whatever you want. You could bring blood, you can bring unholy. If you see an angle to bring frost, you can bring frost. It is just really really strong. And another good part of Hero, Frost Death Knight probably comes up a bit more maybe in Hero, because people are trying to sweep one of the other two Death Knight archetypes potentially, and you throw them off with Frost and you just pick up 2 wins like that. Warlock, absolutely absent. Do not bring Warlock. Warrior, unfortunately, was brought and lost. Um, but yeah, it's fairly stock standard. Priest also doing well, like it was in Legacy. Good to see. A Hunter and Druid not exactly doing too much. Mage only on the one bring is a little bit unexpected for me, but other than that, looking fairly standard with where the meta is at the moment.
Yeah, there was some sweeps with the not so obvious decks this past week. I know when I was going through the stats and putting this together, there was a Shaman sweep, which I believe was Ridiculous Hat. Had a sweep with Shaman, and I think there was a Hunter sweep as well. Yep, I think that was. God, that was in week 2. There may have been a Hunter sweep, yeah, but there was definitely some good results outside of that. And I do remember maybe it was Paladin sweep. Pigpen got the sweep with Two-Star Marker got the sweep over Pigpen with Paladin. So even though you're bringing these other classes, there's still the potential to sweep with them. I don't necessarily think that the Death Knight Demon Hunter is the be all end all of the meta at the moment. Nubs, did you have anything to say about Hero Series class brings?
Not much, but just really happy to see high priest numbers. Yeah, just across multiple series. That's probably it. Yeah.
Priest Enjoyers in the channel. Any Priest Enjoyers in chat? Spam your emotes. All right, we'll move on from the Priest enjoyment. Let's have a look at our match of the week from last week. Here we go. Geranium Battle versus Wild Rose. I'll get Nubs to talk us through this one. Geranium's in the channel. Did you want to jump on the stream, Geranium? Get you on. We can.
Yeah, I can make a surprise appearance.
What?
Let's go.
A priest enjoyer in RVC?
Yeah, I'm a
Two
priest
of them.
enjoyer.
Jeez.
How can I help?
Well, it's we asked them to spam and chat. They've spammed so hard. One's been summoned here. Geranium. you got a 3-1. How'd you do it?
Well, in preparation here, both I and Wild Rose brought somewhat similar lineups. I brought Druid while Wild Rose brought Rogue. So Wild Rose brought a slightly more aggressive style of lineup, bringing some more aggressive decks to sort of counter that Druid, whereas I went more to counter the Rogue and brought more control-y style decks. Game one, my control priest. Unfortunately, I just misplayed it and ended up losing a pretty dang favored matchup. And then proceeded to go with Death Knight, win that matchup, and then unfortunately face the the just as unfavored matchup right back, facing Control Priest, which I misplayed Control Priest, Wild Rose misplayed Control Priest, so it all evened out, and I ended up sweeping with the Death Knight, because the last matchup was not really a problem for me. So um, ended up being fairly lucky in that respect, and looking forward to another week.
Yeah, well, we wanted to get you. I think we mentioned it last week when we were talking about this match before it happened, and wanted to get you on the show. Now, this match has put you over the 550 PR cap for the first time. Congratulations on reaching the cap. I think it's a goal for quite a lot of people. I know it's definitely a goal for myself. But yeah, congrats on reaching the
Let's
cap.
go.
Thank you. Yeah, I still have yet to prove myself against like the standout names in Hero Series. Uh, I dodged Ron Mexico round one, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But I'm hoping to gain all the PR for my team.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, team's definitely doing well so far this season. Definitely got a couple of good bookends there in the 1-5 seeds, and yeah, everyone in the middles had a win at least. So hopefully you can have another good season. And being back to back reigning champs, maybe a three-peat could be in order. We're
Yeah,
gonna
let's just curse me even more. Ugh.
yeah, we'll ignore the caster curses. We're going to look at the match for next week. Reverb, did you want to run us through? You can stay in the chat if you want, in the channel, Tronium, if you want. We've only got this and a couple of other little things to go. So, Reverb, do you want to run us through this match for next week?
This match is an interesting one because it is a tongue twister. This is a battle of the 4 seeds, and if you don't know, 2-Star Mako has won the MVP for Hero the last 2 seasons, meaning this is a battle of the 2-time MVP versus the MPV. I'm surprised I got that without stuttering. This is gonna be pretty good. I think 2-Star Mako, don't quote me on this, is undefeated, and I believe MPV is also undefeated. Am I sure on this? No. And I may or may not currently be looking it up to double check this. But I'm going to run with the fact that they're both undefeated because I was wrong. MPV has dropped a game. But nonetheless, this is still a close matchup. Their MVP, their PR is fairly similar. And hopefully, for MPV at least, he can continue the success of Jespin, who on his team beat Dragon Rider, and can knock down 2-Star Mako so they are no longer undefeated. And maybe, just maybe, they can stop their run so that 2-Star Mako is not the 3-time MVP. I've said MP and V too many times. But yeah, this is going to be a close one. Good luck to both of them. And I'm expecting another close match from these two.
Nubs, did you have anything you wanted to say about this matchup?
Not really, but I was almost about to say PVM instead of MPV, so I was on a whole other thing just then. But yeah, no, 2-star Mako, excellent player, and yeah, excited to see that matchup. Yep.
Geranium, did you want to add anything?
Sure. Having played or having had my team play against both of these, Tristar Mako, very consistently good player, has been at the top of both series, Legacy and Hero, for quite a while now. MPV took a bit of a break, but very strong player. He was a super threat back in the original days of the Golden Wisps, and I think Mako's been having more of a recent success while MPV wasn't there. I think MPV might be the thing to end this reign. So this is really a good match to highlight.
Yeah, I faced off against MPV last week. I couldn't get my 2-1 over the line. MPV came back and hit me back with a 3-2. So, yeah, he played really well. Nice clean lines. And coming up against Marco, who's won back-to-back MVPs, definitely on top of his game at the moment. So I'm looking forward to talking about this one next week and see who came out on top in this one. All right, the last thing we've got to do tonight to cover is the crossover leaderboard. Just worth noting that this is just sort of wins and losses. The crossover champion is decided on PAR, which we don't cover here in our little coverage. However, as of next week, after round 4, I believe that PPR is covered both on, we'll be covering Wild here, and the Standard Series will probably be covered on Her Center. So definitely looking forward to seeing the PPR leaderboards from next week. But until then, we've got our crossover power rankings top 5 players. And I'll get Nubs. I'll get you to tell me who are our top 5 players at the moment in the crossover.
Yes. So we have. Sorry, tired. At number 1, we've got Azalea Akari going 6-0 with a total of 18 points to 4. At number 2, we've got Neji Boston himself going 7-2 with 21 points to 14. Number 3, we've got Dr. Bond going 6-2 with a score of 22-13. Got man himself, Nice Jewish Owl at 4, going 5-1 at 17-9 points. And we've got Geranium at number 5, going 5-2 at 18-11. Yeah, some solid power rankings.
Yeah, so Azalea and Geranium were playing 2 series, but both subbed into a 3rd series this past week, with Azalea winning in Wild and Geranium getting a win in Pro. So they jump up onto the crossover leaderboards. Reverb, did you have anything you wanted to add or say about these players?
Well, nothing I wanted to say. Nice Jewish Alice chimed in and said, realistically, only 3-1 because 2 wins are in Wild. So, the shoelace attempted tires, unfortunately getting, discredited. But that's okay because even if we learn how to tie our shoelaces, we can still make those power rankings.
Geranium, did you want to add anything about the top 5 in crossover?
Yeah, if anyone has the THL rigged emote, there is no shot I should be number 5 here. Uh, basically, we are past the days where Nails and German Shep will go completely undefeated for an entire season. Now we are in the just hope to have any series that you do well in.
Well, there were some different names on the leaderboard last week. As I said, as Azalea and Dranium have jumped on, having subbed into other series. Um, I was on the leaderboard last week, but I lost all three of my matches last week, so I'm definitely not on the leaderboard anymore. And I think Geranium just bumped Ron Mexico off the leaderboard, who is our reigning rating crossover champion. So yeah, looking forward to seeing where things are at next week. We'll have PPR covered for each of the series, but we will continue to run the crossover rankings on this show just to see who's at the top of crossover and performing well across all of the THL series. All right, final thing for the show is our checkout question. And for tonight's question, we have this little one. Which class is the sleeping giant? Who rises to the top after nerfs and buffs? I'm going to start with you, Nostra Reverberdanus.
Yes, it's me. And the sleeping giant is one we all knew all along. It's Garrosh, baby. Who's gonna rise to the top? Easily every single warrior deck ever. But Reverb, there's only two warrior decks at the moment. Fool. Everyone knows From the Depths is becoming a 3 mana card. It's just destiny at this point. If it isn't a 3 mana card, I'm gonna be really upset to be honest. But in Fury, Control Warrior gets a tiny little buff, and maybe the buff is a bit too much than it should be because in the in the mini set they're gonna print another Kazakas and it's just gonna be overpowered. But a man can dream. So my vote's for you, Garrosh. You've already got two decent under the radar kind of decks. I'm hoping you get a third, and I'm hoping that Death Knight doesn't bully us off the face of the earth because it gets turned down a little bit. Big thumbs up. Please, 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 please. I really like Garrosh. It's my second favorite if it isn't Rogue.
All right, Nubs, are you on the warrior bandwagon here as well, or did you have another class that you think might be the sleeping giant?
I'm always on the warrior bandwagon, but I'm really hopeful for Shaman to have something to shake up the meta as well. I want a Shaman to be back up there in its numbers and have more people bring it, both in wild and standard formats as well. Just I really, really sort of miss it, and I'm getting sick of a little bit of like the totem lists that are out there, and I just want something crazy, something fun to sort of come back and a little bit meta breaking again. Like I want Shaman to be the problem. So yeah, it's my hot take.
Chewy's not a fan of Shaman. I don't think he likes your take. Perhaps you should have said Druid to appease Chewy. I know how much he loves Druid as well.
No, no, never again. Only Cthulhu, otherwise no.
Geranium, did you have any hot takes on the Sleeping Giant, the next big class to dominate the THL?
I'll echo my takes from last week, I think, and I will say that the class that has the highest chance of rising to the top after buffs nerfs is probably Demon Hunter. Um, Death Knight is currently most likely the top class in the game right now, and there might be some nerfs to it. Hopefully, there's some nerfs to it in addition to buffs to other classes, and I think those buffs to other classes will not be in Demon Hunter, and yet Demon Hunter will be at the top. That's so crazy. Um, for Rogue deck that I think might do well after the patch. Uh, Pure Paladin always sees more play when there's more unrefined stuff, so it might be the top for a little bit again.
Yeah, I think with the way that the full set meta, we've got a limited number of cards at the moment. Demon Hunter and Death Knight do look really strong, and they have multiple archetypes. So if you hit one, one matchup gets hit for another class, something else might rise up. It's difficult to see the meta changing that much that there isn't going to be a strong Demon Hunter or Death Knight deck or decks moving forward. But I'm hopeful there's at least going to be some other strong decks, some other decks that we can bring just to shake it up a little bit rather than the 4 or 5 class meta that we've got at the moment. Alrighty. Final words before we go. I'll start with you, Nubs. Ladies first. Did you have anything you wanted to say? And thank you for coming on and filling in for Yo Daddy.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me. It's nice to have some Kiwi representation in OCE. It's quite cool. But yeah, I'll be back at some point in the future, I assume. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back on the show again another week for sure. Reverb, did you have anything you wanted to say? Last words?
All I want to say is I'm hoping everyone's ready to come in next week and start chanting our war cries. All hail Lord Garrosh.
Stop.
I think we've lost Reverb. If not technically
Yeah.
through the
I'd-
Discord, but
I
definitely
was busy
mentally.
chanting too much.
His psychotic
Sure.
break.
I don't think my
Stop.
chants were coming through my mic, unfortunately. So that's how much I love him.
I think Reverb might need a break next week.
Never.
All right, Geranium, did you want to say anything to finish off the show?
Yeah, thank you for letting me hop on for the little special shout out to myself, I guess. Um, I do really think that it's great that the show is finally getting some American representation, and
Oh my god.
and I was the first person to have the team called Horde on main, so I sort of get the Garrosh support um, for the Horde, everyone.
Well,
For the horde.
well, there's
For
yeah.
the
So
Horde.
I mean, if yeah. Yeah, appreciate you coming on. I'm more than happy to have you on as a guest as well. If you are up at the early time, so we can discuss. We can take this off channel and see what we can set up in the future. Just to finish, if you are playing your matches this week, we're always looking for matches to play on stream. Just hit up Saku or Wild9 in the THL stream match requests channel. Love to get you on. It's always fun playing on stream. Get your nephews or your nieces to watch you and think that you're a celebrity. At least that's what my nephews do. Later tonight or tomorrow, if you're in the right side of the world, tune in for Hearth Center. You'll be able to catch Geranium again in about 12 hours time, along with Lotus Knight and the crew. So stick around or come back around for that. And apart from that, we will see you again next week for another episode of Sidebar. Hope you all have a good week and good luck in your matches in THL.